Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 3 of the Division 3 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentalist. I'll be taking you through proceedings as per usual, and joining me in the commentary box for the second week and for the rest of the season as well is Killer Blue, otherwise known as Jake. Jake, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Very much looking forward to this race. Last week was a cracker, wasn't it, at United States? We didn't have no reports again for the second week in a row, but it was a topsy-turvy affair. Absolutely cracking stuff. Brendan drove through it all very calmly, came out on top with a dominant win. 2 races, 2 different winners, and our championship leader hasn't won a race yet, who's QVR Chill. So I think it's all set very nicely for another exciting, but hopefully very clean race.
Yeah, it does look like it could be a really exciting one, this one. Like you said, 2 different winners in the first 2 races, but the championship leader hasn't won a race as of yet. I think it just goes to show that consistency is key, because Forza Brendan, obviously, with an utterly dominant performance last time out, but the first round of the season barely got 2 laps completed before he ended up retiring. So just goes to show that that is one thing that you really need to focus on. Speaking of the championship standings, just going to quickly run you through the rest of the championship standings for you guys before qualifying gets fully underway. Chill obviously leading the way. He is 3 points ahead of our race winner from the first round of the season, Tin Can. Tin Can couldn't quite repeat that performance in the USA. A tyre strategy that led to him having older tyres than the people around him at the end of the race meant he dropped down towards the bottom end of the top 10. Brendan in 3rd place in the championship on 25 points. J. Cole in 4th after 2 top 5 finishes. He's on 22 points. Funky Chicken on the podium for the first time last time out. It was a double Aston Martin podium in the US of A, so Funky Chicken is 5th. White YY is 6th ahead of Luke. Black Poma, Carwin Rob and LGN Cobalt rounds off the top 10 in the point standings. The team standings, Aston Martin with a double podium last time out overtook Ferrari in the manufacturers. They have a 3-point lead over Ferrari, with Red Bull in 3rd, already 23 points further back. So Aston Martin and Ferrari leading the teams at the moment, and you've got to say both the teams have had a pretty solid start to the season, even despite Luke missing the first round of the championship.
Yeah, I think Aston Martin particularly looked very solid. They drove very calmly last week. Chill and Funky Chicken, as you say, double podium finish. Ferrari's a little bit harder to gauge because Luke's only had that one race. His Colin Rob has disconnected there. Just to bring it on to the present, though, I think we can safely say from the first 2.5 minutes of this qualifying session, no one is particularly keen on the softs. No one in a rush to get out, get a lap in, and set any sort of competitive time on the softs. I think everyone is saving themselves for that juicy yellow striped medium, because no one's on track. We're now nearly 3 minutes in, so I think we'll have to entertain ourselves for a little bit here.
Yeah, just entertain ourselves while this is going on. I think there might be a little bit of a lobby glitch. That might be why we haven't seen any cars on track, unfortunately. This is a lobby glitch I think I've never seen before, but by the looks of it, a late join from I think it was Carwin Rob that joined the lobby just a little bit late, and it meant that the loading for the lobby didn't quite get underway. So I think everybody is loaded into the qualifying session now, and there we go, we're getting people out. So I don't actually know if that timer is correct or not, whether these guys are seeing that they've got 18 minutes or whether they've only got 14 minutes, but we'll wait and see. That'll be a fun one to try and unpack. But it's the 2 Aston Martins that go out onto the track first. Our championship leader QVR Chill is the first man out onto the track on a set of soft compound tyres. And while we're here, we'll have to talk about the tyre strategy, won't we? This is probably the first race of the season where tyre strategy will play a really massive part in how this race unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can see a real blend here. There's soft, medium soft are the go-to, but also soft hard, medium hard. I've heard some people say they're interested in. Not to give too much away for people who might be in Division 2 later on, but yeah. So there's 4 or 5 strategies that can work well here. I'd be surprised. Well, I say I'd be surprised. I think someone might try a 2-stop. I don't think it's going to work, but with a safety car, you never know. And there goes QVR Chill all the way round, 180 degrees on the exit of turn 10. That is not how you want to prepare your tyres for qualifying. But yeah, I'm not sure where people are going to go. I thought we will see a few people try and qualify on mediums. I know further up in Division 1 and 2, there are going to be people attempting to qualify on mediums. So we'll see. There's still a lot of people in the pits, even if we are now, I think, 2 minutes into qualifying, not 4. But still, no one seems in a desperate rush. There wasn't a huge stampede out of the pits, so we'll see. I think we're going to see a real blend of softs and mediums here.
Yeah, definitely looks like that's going to be the case. Let's ride aboard though with TG Funky Chicken in the Aston Martin. He's going to take us through our first lap around Spain. The circuit to Catalonia is run through turn 3, easily flat in modern cars, but a little bit of understeer mid-corner there from the Aston Martin. Didn't quite able to get it through as Chill, for the second time this season, Chill has crashed out of qualifying before he's been able to set a lap. So our championship leader again on the back foot. He recovered brilliantly in Bahrain, but it is so much more difficult to overtake around this circuit than it is at Bahrain. That is a disaster for our championship leader. Will continue on board with his teammate as he comes up towards turn 9. Was easily flat on the last game, but you can see there a little bit of a lift in the middle of the corner from Funky Chicken as he heads down towards turn 10. We won't say my thoughts on this corner, but this is the old version of turn 10. Obviously the new version of the corner runs a little bit further out towards the MotoGP layout, through turn 11 and then through turn 12. Another long right-handed corner, and now into this tricky complex at the end. Downhill through turn 13. The 14 and 15 chicane don't hit the curb on the first part, but you can jump the second part, which is exactly what Funky Chicken does. And then around the final corner of the lap and up towards the line, Funky Chicken crosses the line. It's a 15.3 to start off the session, and while I was talking there, Cobalt has gone and crashed at exactly the same spot, and now Harry Nawag has gone and crashed at turn 9. That's 3 drivers out of the session already.
Absolutely bonkers. I think this is a tricky track. I wasn't expecting it to be that tricky, that we'd see 3 cars not manage to set a lap, and the QVR Chill in a way went around twice because he went around at turn 10 on his outlap. And I was on board with J. Cole while you were riding with Funky Chicken. He went invalid out of the chicane, out of turn 15, second to last corner. So a really, really scruffy start to this session from everyone involved.
Yeah, that is such a bizarre start to the qualifying session. Like you said, it is a tricky track, but to see 3 gone already, that is absolutely bizarre. Across the line, Black Poma comes. He goes just under a tenth slower than Funky Chicken on a 15.4 in the McLaren. His McLaren teammate is on a lap, as is Tin Can, but Tin Can's decided to come into the pit lane and not complete that lap time. So he's in to the pit lane. Around the final corner comes Darry in the other McLaren, but he loses the rear of the car big time coming out of the chicane, and then immediately backs off of the lap because of it. So he crosses the line, and it's a 20.2, not a representative time, but we might see a lot of drivers perform that in this session because they might want to go on to a set of mediums later on. Speaking of setting lap times on the mediums, our first lap on the mediums, a 15.9 from Non-Scott. I'll be utterly astonished if that keeps him inside the top 10, but we've already lost 3 drivers before the first laps are even completed, so who knows how that's going to play out. Raleigh JT crosses the line in the Williams. He is just behind Black Poma on a 50.4 himself as well. First runs are, well, pretty much over and done with. The only other driver on a run at the moment is Trent. She's running a little bit out of sync with everybody else. First one's over and done with. 3 drivers out, only 5 drivers with a time, and 4 of them only representative.
That's absolutely bonkers. No one anywhere near the 1 minute 14. I thought we'd at least see a 14.7, 14.8 maybe from pole position today. I was on board with Forza Brendan just then. He went very wide out of turn 3 on his flying lap, almost, but very late in the corner on the run to 4. It looked like that was a deliberate invalidation there from Brendan, just getting a sighter on the softs. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but it's a very strange place to invalidate for the USA race winner. He came straight in at the end of that. And as you say, one of a litany of drivers who have either gone invalid or not set a time at all after these first runs. And I'm on board with Brent, who's on his first fine lap, and he's already invalid from somewhere around that first sector as well. So, absolutely bonkers qualifying session.
Yeah, Trent's just coming around the final corner, turn 16 now in the Alpine. He's had good qualifying speed this season, along with his teammate, but it's only a 15.8 for his first run in the qualifying session. That puts him P5 for the time being. Noah improved on his second lap. He invalidated his first run, backed off, and went again on the same set of tyres. He now holds provisional pole on a 15.1, but the last thing you want to do around Spain is run with more worn soft compound tyres than you need. It's going to really affect you in the race, so he'll want to improve on that later on in the session. Brent then, like I said, the only one that's technically on a lap, but it's invalid, and I would be surprised if we see him complete another lap on this same set of tyres. That means Carwin Robb is the next one to come out. Pole sitter this time last week. 2 weeks in a row he's been on the front row of the grid, but 2 weeks in a row the strategies have gone horribly wrong for him as he nearly runs clean into the back of his teammate there.
That was very bizarre why he thought he needed to follow CRT trench through there. Yeah, if Carwin Robb, he's clearly shown he's got the speed. If he doesn't get it together this week, he's going to attract that label of bottle. You know, no one likes to be known as that, but he's thrown away a good chunk of points. I mean, he's definitely in the fight. He was the only person on Brendan's pace last week, so he needs a good result because he can be in this championship fight, absolutely. And obviously, Chill down going to be starting at the back, although he's currently in P9, even though he hasn't settled out more than halfway through the session. But with Chill at the back, there's an open goal for him to gain some points there at the top of the standings, and he can get himself in this fight, but he needs to hook it up in qualifying for one, but we know he can do that. He needs to keep it together in the race as well, and this is a track that I'm expecting to see a lot of people make a lot of mistakes at if qualifying is anything to go by at all. And here he goes for his first lap now.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. Can he get on the front row for the third week in a row? It would be a great qualifying record for him, but like you say, got to get it together in the race conditions. We are still early in this championship, so anything can happen, and we've already seen it so far this season with the amount of different race results we've had so far. Then through turns 1 and 2, nice and neat so far. Remember, Carwin Robb is on the medium compound tyre, so he's a step harder than everybody else that set a lap in front of him, apart from non-Scott, and it's a 21.4 through the first sector. Not bad, but about 2/10 off the optimum of what you will see in the session. Got another yellow flag. That's for Forza Brendan, I think, just moving out the way of one of the McLaren cars. Coming down through the middle sector, then there's Funky Chicken to the left-hand side, moving out the way through this tricky turn 7 and 8 chicane, but the car looks nice and planted through there. Nice and easy to drive up through turn 9. No lift through turn 9, actually, interestingly, but keeping it high in the rev range of 6th gear down towards the end of the back straight. It's 49.5 for the middle part of the lap. That's pretty strong considering the tyres he is on as he heads through the final sector. This is where the mediums tend to lose out the most time compared to the softs. You just don't have that front bite that you can get on the softer compounder tyre. It makes it difficult for the quick changes of direction you need in this final part, but it looks nice and neat from Carwin Robb as he comes through the final corner. This could be a fairly competitive time on the medium compound tyres up towards the line. It's second fastest on the medium compound tyres, so 15.2. That is a brilliant lap time. That could very possibly keep him inside the top 10 and give him a massive strategy advantage for the race.
I mean, with the amount of people that have dropped out and people who seem to be going for mediums, absolutely that could put him in the top 10. It could put him in the top 5 if the people behind him are looking to go for mediums. We'll see. Funky Chicken just getting very out of shape through turn 2, nearly spun it on the curb through 3. Didn't lose too much in the first sector, but he's a 10th down. But yeah, cracking time from Carwin Robb. And he's now in the tricky conundrum of, does he commit to mediums as non-Scott goes above him on a 15.24, or does he try and go on the softs and guarantee himself that pole position? Because based on that pace, he can get a pole position hand over fist. So, he's in a tricky situation now as that Black Pomo drops into 4th place now on a 13.3.
Yeah, Forza Brendan across the line on the medium compound tyres to 15.5. Only just under 0.3 of a second off Carwin Robb, but there's 5 cars in between them, so that wasn't quite what Forza Brendan would have needed on that run. It's very close between the people that have set times so far. Trench has actually set that 15.5 on his second lap on the tyres. He's now on his third lap on that set of softs, so he's taken a very bold strategy in this qualifying session. Tin Can, a great first sector, and then Invalidates coming out of turn 5, ran way too wide coming out of the corner, and that's another invalidation in this session this time around for Tin Can in the Ferrari. Brent's on the medium compound tyres, but he was very out of shape coming out of turn 5 himself. Luke in the other Ferrari has also invalidated, so neither Ferrari so far has set a valid lap time in this session. We're still yet to see times as well from Teorg in the Haas and J. Cole as well in the other Mercedes. His teammate out the session, J. Cole, hasn't set a lap time yet either. He's been in the top 5 in both of the first 2 races. A lot of big names though here, really out of sync with everybody else. The only driver in the top 4 in the championship that's set a time in this session is Brendan, and he's only 8th.
Yeah, we're getting something of a topsy-turvy grid here. I think TGG Funky Chicken will be looking at that and rubbing his hands together because he's got a chance to really... He had that podium in USA. He can really gain on his rivals here if they don't improve. I mean, it looks like Luke, Tiag and J. Cole are all saving themselves for one Banzai lap on the mediums at the end. I imagine Tin Can's the same. So, but if that's the case, I don't think they're going to go by Funky Chicken. So, yeah, these guys at the front now on softs, they've got a real chance to, get out in front at the start of the race, get a few seconds advantage, and try and salvage it. Well, not salvage, but force a good result because they'll have that clean air that the softs are going to give them. The guys in the mediums, it might be a better strategy, but as Mark would say in the old school 3000, our D3 champion would say, in a vacuum, but in a race situation it's very tricky to judge, and you can't beat clean air up front and Noah and non-Scott. That's a very interesting front row.
Yeah, it definitely is a very interesting front row, like you say. And of course, remember, Noah set those times on an older set of soft compound tyres. He's still yet to improve on that time, so we're probably yet to see the best still from Noah in this session. No one as of yet in the 1 minute 14s, which is a bit of a surprise to see, just to seem like people don't quite have the confidence. We've seen that a lot, though, this season in practice of stuff before lobbies. We see a lot of people setting fast times, but coming to the actual lobby, it's very difficult to then match that just because of how easy it is to spin a car on this game this time around. People don't want to take the risks too much. The only driver out on the track as of yet is J. Cole, and he's on the medium tyres just like you mentioned, so we'll ride with him and see what he does on these tyres. But I mean, already a 15.2 from Carwin Rob on the mediums, that is going to be really difficult for anybody else to beat on the same set of tyres.
Yeah, I can't see too many people even getting that, even if they go on to softs, let alone mediums. I don't think J. Cole. I mean, we know how quick Colin Robb is in qualifying. We've talked about it already. I don't think anyone who's going out on mediums now will better that. I mean, we can see that Luke is selected mediums, J. Cole's on mediums already, Tin Can selected mediums. I don't think any of those guys are going to beat that. I mean, we know how quick Carwin Robb is. The only people who are going to beat them is if they pluck for the softs, and people, do they want to do that? It's very much a risk reward. You've got to weigh up the pros and cons, because there isn't an obvious answer here as to which tie do you pick, because there'll be a lot of the people in the top 10 that haven't tried the mediums yet. So they've got to think, do they go for softs for that last round? Do they go for mediums? And I think a lot of them are trying to wait to see what other people do. But we've got 1 minute 40 left in the session now. They're going to all have to get out together. This is going to be a huge traffic jam at the end of Sector 3, because there's not enough time here for everyone to get out. 1 minute 30 left, and everyone is still showing on in the pits for my screen.
Yeah, they are for me as well. Of course, we did have a little bit of a delayed start to qualifying, so our timer might be different to everybody else's, but I haven't got a clue which timer to base it off of. We've got, obviously, 1 minute 15 left. That would be nowhere near enough time for anybody to get a lap in as of now. But, of course, everybody else started this lobby about 3 minutes behind us, so they may still have 3.5 minutes to go in the session. We don't know. We'll wait and see when our timer ticks down what actually happens to the lobby, whether the qualifying session finishes earlier than everybody is expecting. If so, this could save J. Cole quite a bit. He's continuing on his lap, but he is 0.2 of a second down on Carwin Robb, coming through the middle part of the lap on the same set of tyres. We'll see what his final sector is like, and he invalidates coming out of 15. That is not what he needed at all as he comes up towards the line, still pushing. Would have been a 15.4. That would have been a 1,000th of a second faster than Dowie and would have put him P6, but crucially he's invalidated his only run on the medium compound tyres. That's a disaster by J. Cole standards, that he's still at the very back of the field with no time.
This is why I'm not a fan of saving the medium run to the end, because you put everything onto one lap. If you're going for the mediums, do it on your first run, like Carwin Robb, like Brendan. Do it early, get the lap in, then you can evaluate the situation, see if you want to go for soft, see if you want to stick or twist. If you save the mediums to the end, you're forced to twist because you don't have anything on the board, and you just put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Yes, the track might be a tenth or two quicker at the end, but you've just got to throw it at the start of the session so you're not putting that pressure on yourself, because as we see, J. Cole, he's rolled the dice, and he's completely lost here because he doesn't have the time, even if there are 2 minutes left, say, to come in, change tyres and go back out, or even stick with the same mediums. So, yeah, I don't know why people are putting the pressure on this last lap. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it, because look at what J. Cole, look at the situation he's put himself in now.
Yeah, really difficult situation. Luke crosses the line, and he can only manage 10th on the medium compound tyres. That is well beyond what he would have needed to put himself in contention really in this race. Remember, Carwin Robb's best time is on the mediums. He's still 4th on the grid at the moment. He is sitting really comfortable in this lobby at the moment. The closest person to him on the mediums is Forza Brendan, and Forza Brendan's gone back out on the same set of medium compound tyres, so he is fully committed to this strategy of starting on the medium compound tyres. Luke won't have enough time left in the session to go again, I don't believe, so that's his session over and done with. J. Cole has gone again on the same set of tyres. I'll be amazed if he has the fuel to complete this lap, but we'll wait and see. Tin Can's just started his run as well on the medium compound tyres, so we'll ride with Tin Can and see what he can do, whether he can get any higher than his teammate managed in this session, and could he lock his teammate outside of the top 10. We've still only got 11 times in the session. 4 drivers have retired from the qualifying session through various ways, 3 of them crashing. Teal'c, I think, just retired in the pit lane, just didn't want to set a lap at all, so he's not going to be anywhere near the front of the field where you would expect him to be. Then Tin Can then coming through the middle part of the lap. There's going to be a bit of traffic towards the end of the run. Someone's gone off at turn 11 as well. I think that might be one of the Alpines or one of the Williams cars that's gone off in the middle part of the lap. I think it's actually Noah that has spun. It is Noah on his final run has spun coming through turn 11. So that's him going to be starting on an older set of soft compound tyres. That is not what he would have wanted in this race at all. Tin Can coming through the final part of the lap. Then J. Cole crosses the line, goes 8th, but he's already done 3 laps on those mediums. That is going to be a major disadvantage to some of the drivers around him. Tin Can around the final corner and up towards the line. Where can he put that Ferrari? Only 11th on the medium compound tyres, half a tenth faster than his teammate. The medium compound tyres strategy gamble for the Ferraris. They are starting outside of the top 10 as it stands. They will get a free choice of tyre, but that is not what they would have wanted at all, as Forza Brendan goes back in front of J. Cole and into 8th place.
Yeah, the mediums isn't working. The people who have gambled on it, I don't think it's working for them because, well, would you rather start 9th on 3-lap old tyres, or would you rather start, aim for 11th or 12th or 13th and start on fresh mediums? I don't think it is a gamble that really worked for him. Brendan's on very old tyres as well. Tin Can is probably in the best position he could realistically hope for if he's not too happy with his pace. But, yeah, this is a crazy jumbled grid, isn't it? And we've just randomly got Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda and Max Verstappen pop into the lobby there. Carwin Robb said in the Discord that the session ended for him when it ended for us, and he was the source of the glitch. IRT Dari goes into 6th. He is the first one to fully finish the lobby. We've got an AlphaTauri just behind him. That's Brent, only 13th for him. Funky Chicken, though, finally we have someone in the 1 minute 14s. He bangs that in. I said he had an advantage to take here with these title rivals in the mud. He's taken it. A pole position for him. I don't see anyone else beating that. We got Trench on a lap, is that? He's backed off. Forza Brendan's going again, is he? No, that's an in-lap. J. Cole's backed off. Tin Can's in the pit. So I think
that's it.
That is qualifying.
That is qualifying, yeah, and it is an Aston Martin on pole position. It's Funky Chicken with a 14.8, 3/10 of a second clear of the rest of the field. 0.02 of a second separates the two Williams cars at the front of the field. 2nd and 3rd for them. That's brilliant. Lon Scott 4th, but even though the lobby ended early for Carwin Robb, he is 5th on the grid on a set of medium compound tyres. That, honestly, probably for him, could not have gone any better. The closest medium runner to him is Forza Brendan in 9th, and his medium tyres are already 3 laps older than Carwin Robb's.
Yeah, Carwin Robb is in an amazing position to win this race. I think this is even a better position for him than he was in USA when he was fighting with Brendan, because we'll talk about it as the race goes on. But those medium tyres in the race, they're only a tenth or two slower on lap 1 than the softs. They are quick from the get-go. You don't have to wait for them to come towards you or for the softs to drop away. They're there. He's going to be out there fighting with the guys, and he can easily make positions on lap 1, and he's going to put himself in a beautiful position. But let's run through the final classification then. So it's TTG Funky Chicken in the Aston Martin on pole with 14.880. IFR Noah 2nd, Raleigh JT is 3rd, the two Williams there. VAR Non-Scott is 4th in the Alfa Romeo, 15.2 for him. Then Carwin Robb, 1st the medium runners, a 15.2 also. P6 is Black Poma, then Dari, Trench, and then come the medium runners. Brendan in 9th, J. Cole in 10th, Tin Can starts 11th, he'll get fresh tyre choice. 2nd Ferrari in 12th of Luke 05, then Brent, Chill, Cobalt, Tiag and Harry. Those last 4 not completing a lap time.
Yeah, bit of a jumbled up order, like you mentioned. A lot of big names further down the field. That is going to be really interesting for the start of this race. I think Chill is counting his lucky stars that 3 other drivers also had the same problem as him in that lobby. That saved him a few spots on the grid. So we'll wait and see what they do in terms of strategy now. Strategy already completely up in the air throughout the top 10. And now we've got, of course, the battle for the people a bit further down the field. What are they going to go for? Do you think we're going to see some drivers maybe start on the hard compound tyres?
I think 1 or 2 might try it. I don't think we're going to see it en masse outside the top 10. I think everyone's going to go for the mediums. Everyone, of course, will have a fresh set of mediums, even if they tried to qualify on them. But, yeah, I think we will see a mix. No one's going to go for the softs. I don't think anyone outside the top 10, I don't think anyone inside the top 10 really would, in an ideal world, be touching the softs. So it's just a case of, are people going medium soft or medium hard? And the people who start hards, I think, will definitely be going softs at the end. But yeah, 4 or 5 strategy people could try here. It's going to be a real mix. What would you do? Would you go hards if you're outside the top 10 and hope to go long, or would you go mediums and just see if you can get in amongst it.
It's a difficult call. I think if you're maybe chill a bit further down, I would definitely maybe try the hard compound tyres because you don't really want to follow unless you think you can get past the other people on the same strategy as you. You don't really want to follow what everybody else in front of you is doing. You want to try something a little bit different just so you can get out into some clean air at some point in the race or maybe capitalise on a late safety car. There's just a few circumstances that the hard compound tyres could put you in. And looking at those drivers that are on alternate strategies, Brent and Teorg, the two drivers that have gone for the hard compound tyres, in the AlphaTauri in 13th and the Haas in 16th on the grid. They've both gone for the hard, so maybe look for the medium runners around them to pull away early on. But just like with the medium compound tyres compared to the softs, it doesn't really take the hards that long to get up to pace either, maybe 5 or 6 laps, and the medium and the hard compound tyres are pretty similar in pace.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The hards do just keep getting quicker as the stint goes on. But I'd say the dilemma they've given themselves, or rather, not the dilemma, the problem, is that if they catch damage lap 1, or if there's a lap 1 safety car, the hards can do more than a full race distance on this game at this track. They can easily go the full 33 laps. So if there's an early safety car, anyone other than Brent and Tiag could pit for hards and go to the end comfortably. They would be the exceptions who would either have to commit to hards and go long on those, or go medium perhaps. But I'd say that's the main reason why I would avoid the hards like the plague for the first stint, because if there's a safety car, you have no options. You're boxing yourself into a corner there, because you can't make that switch to hards and run for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's going to be a really difficult one to weigh up. It's such a difficult choice, especially around a track like this. This is why we love when it comes to races like this, because you haven't got a clue which strategy is going to be the correct one. It's going to be great to see how it plays out. So many different drivers on different strategies. Just before we line up, though, Jake, I'm going to ask you the impossible question. Who's your pick for a race victory?
Carwin Rob. I hope so. I hope he has a stronger race than he had in USA. He was unlucky there. I mean, it was his own mistake, but I think he's my tip. He's far and away clear of the rest of the medium runners. He's got a really good shout. If he gets through lap 1, gains a position or 2, it's there for his take, and I think he's quicker than the guys ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got a really great opportunity. Can we get 3 different winners in 3 races? It's just a little bit of delay to the lights then. And we are away then for the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a fairly even start at the front of the field. In fact, Noah didn't get the best of starts and is under pressure from his teammate. A great start from Carwin Rob. He's already passed Non-Scott in towards turn 1 and into the lead then. Funky Chicken holds the way. Noah, though, missing turn 2. Cuts across the inside. Gets away with it, though. Raleigh in third, but already Carwin Rob right behind him. Cobalt has gone for a spin coming out of turn 2, just like he did in qualifying. The 2 Williams cars side by side into turn 4. Down the inside goes Raleigh JT, trying to get his way past Noah at the start of this race, which is just allowing Funky Chicken to disappear at the front of the field. They're 2 by 2 by 2. In the background, J. Cole, the lead medium runner further down. He's got past Forza Brendan, who's trying to come back around the outside of him at turn 7. Late on the brakes is Forza Brendan. He's going to try and hold the place, and does so. Well held from the Red Bull man. He holds on tonight for the time being. Tinkan's just in behind. Chill's gained a couple of places as Brent has dropped on the hard compound tyres. Lap 1 is pretty much getting towards the end of the lap. Then a little bit of a move in the background. Oh, a big dive there from Harry Nawag down the inside of Chill, and Harry Nawag has spun the car on the exit of the corner as well. So another spinner on the first lap. Cobalt and Harry Nawag not getting off to the best of starts, just like they did in qualifying. Funky Chicken leads the way. Noah just held on from his teammate, but it's already allowing the Aston Martin to get away at the front of the field.
Funky Chicken got the start he needed, but here we goes. Raleigh and Carwin Rob round the outside of the last corner. That is a bonkers overtake. But here comes Raleigh. He had a little bit of slipstream there. He's using all of his airs down towards turn 1. Is he going to go late on the brake on those softs? No, he concedes the position to Rob, tries to spook him a little bit, but has to back out. Northcott nearly tapping the back of him through turn 2, and now Raleigh's going to feel awful understeering that dirty air car washing across the track through the long arching turn 3, but Rob has been released. He's already passed 2 cars now from that start. I said if he could get a couple of places off the line, and he's already up 2 after 1.5 laps.
Yes, but a brilliant start to this race for Colin Robb, then up to third in the Alpine. But he has got now a 1.5 second gap between himself and Noah. He needs to try and chase down to get within DRS range. Noah's managed to get himself back within DRS range of Funky Chicken. Obviously, that starts on the next lap, so we'll wait and see what kind of how that kind of plays out in this race. Of course, 2 DRS zones around this track. DRS very powerful down the pit straight. It's really a non-factor between turns 9 and 10 because the straight is so short. Funky Chicken, interestingly though, has less ERS than Noah, so Noah maybe at this point looking like the fast of the two. Colin Robb has got more ERS than the pair of them, those that he needs to use to try and close in. They're all very, very close together, from Colin Robb all the way down to Brent a bit further down in 14th. They're all in a queue. It's across the line. An 18.5 from Noah, the fastest lap of the race so far. He's tucked in the slipstream of Funky Chicken, so a bit of a chaotic first lap for the Williams pair, especially for Noah, a little bit all over the road, but now he seems to have got back into the rhythm as Cobalt all on his own. So that's an 18.4 on the medium compound tyres, just proving that the mediums seem to be already the better tyre.
Huge race pace, but there's someone's round. That's TRT Trench's round at the start of turn 3, and he joins Harry Noag and Cobalt at the back of the field. They're slipping out, these guys making mistakes. I was just about to say, I think we're going to see a lot of penalties today. I just checked the racetrack end of lap 2. We've already had 7 track limits violations in the first 2 laps. So I think we're going to expect some penalties to come in a few laps' time. But Funky Chicken and Noah up front, they need to work together, try and break Colin Robb, use the DRS that one of them has in second place, work together, try and build that gap as much as they can, because these softs are going to go off very soon. And the mediums are just going to keep coming towards Colin Robb. And if Colin Robb comes, for now, he's dragging Relay and Non-Scott with him. So these are critical laps for Funky Chicken and Noah if they want to make a break for a clear chance at a podium finish here.
Yeah, they've really got to do it now, haven't they? Noah hopping all over the curb on the inside of the final part of the chicane, trying to get the best one he can down the pit straight. He's got his ERS on, DRS is open. I think we might be seeing a change for the lead here as Din towards turn 1. Look at that, the straight line speed that Noah has, no contest whatsoever. He's well past by the time they get to turn 1. Noah then into the lead. Funky Chicken loses the lead of the race and immediately starts understeering in the dirty air of that Williams. Look how much he's having to back off in the middle of turn 3 to just not understeer off the side of the track. Noah as well still has more ERS than Funky Chicken. Funky Chicken, a great qualifying lap from him, but as Chill is our first driver with a time penalty, our championship leader down in 11th, gets a 3-second time penalty coming out of turn 3, I believe. But Funky Chicken already struggling on the softs, maybe a bit more than others, maybe suggesting he's running a little bit too high on tyre pressures and they're just starting to overheat.
Yeah, I think you could really see how visible it was that he was struggling. Noah got a little bit out of shape there on the exit of turn 9. But yeah, both these guys, I think their softs are starting to struggle, either whether it's temps or wear or just general performance. Because look, Robb has already dragged himself from 1.5 seconds back into DRS range, and Noah and Funky Chicken just looking a little bit out of shape here through some of the lower speed corners in sector 3. That is where the softs have the advantage when they're fresh, but it's also where they quickly go off compared to the mediums. Is Robb going to sneak into DRS this lap? I'm not sure he is by 33 thousandths of a second, so yeah, they missed their window, I think, and Robb is going to reel these in very quickly now he's got that DRS advantage.
Yeah, he really is. Funky Chicken thinking about a move down to turn 1, but he's not quite close enough in the DRS ranges. Again, Cobalt is the fastest man on the track at the back of the field. Cobalt, by the way, spun obviously on the first lap coming through turn 2. Luckily didn't pick up any damage, and he's already caught at the back of the queue, so he's absolutely flying in that Alfa Romeo. We have to keep our eye on him. The two the two hard runners just in front of him of Teal'c and Brent, they're 13th and 14th as it stands, and Brent is just outside of DRS range but only 1.5 seconds back, so it's not been a bad start by the two hard runners so far. They're just hanging on as it stands. Forza Brendan in 8th place has maintained that position from the start of the race. Colin Robb now gets a time penalty coming out of turn 8. That's our second driver in this race. Brendan in P8 on the medium compound tyres doing a good job, but because everybody's in a DRS train in front, it just cannot find a way through.
Yeah, everyone down to Luke in 12th place has DRS behind Noah. It has got very clustered there. I said if Robb got into DRS on Funky Chicken, he would drag the rest of the field with him. And so it was, because no one is more... Well, actually, Non-Scott has just dropped out briefly there. He needs to get back in, otherwise we could see these top 4 make a break for it. And he is out of DRS range. That could be critical for allowing these top 4 to make a break. We've just got a bit tongue-tied there. But yeah, Brendan and J. Cole, the medium runners, they're not making any progress on these softs yet, are they? I thought we'd see those mediums sort of make some progress by now, positionally. but it's not happening. He's still tucked up behind the two McLarens, and of course he is on older tyres than those ahead of him. It'll say 5 laps on screen, but as Darry gets a little bit wide through 3, but yeah, Brendan J. Cole on much older tyres than those ahead of them.
Yeah, you can definitely tell Forza Brendan does obviously clearly have the pace. It's just able to take such tighter lines compared to the McLaren in front. But just because there's only really the one overtaking spot at turn 1, you can't get close enough with the DRS because Darry has it in front as well. But now that Non-Scott has lost DRS range to the car in front, it could all start to change a little bit further up as Noah runs very wide again coming out of turn 9 but gets away with it. Of course, these drivers got to be careful through turn 9. There is a big bump on the exit of that corner that can spin you out almost immediately if you're a little bit offline for that corner. The top 4, like you mentioned, just starting to break away a little bit now. Noah still leads. Funky Chicken has been able to keep DRS, but you can see now, just like with Forza Brendan on the back of the McLaren's, Karin Robb is just all over the back of the Aston Martin, but at the moment just can't find a way through.
Yeah, Funky Chicken's DRS is keeping Carwin Robb at bay, but here goes Funky Chicken. I think he's going to get past Noah now. Noah's got nothing to defend with. The DRS substitute combination is so powerful. In fact, is Rob going to try and follow him through? Is he going to go late on the brakes at turn 1? He backs out of it nicely. Noah tucks in, covers the apex, denies any route through for Carwin Robb, but he gets a little bit out of shape on the exit too. Rob tries to sneak his nose in there, but there's nothing going there. But he's too far back for a move to turn 4. But yes, Carwin Robb, I think it's a matter of time. We've got a yellow flag at the back. That's TR. Turn 2 has another victim. And here goes Forza Brendan on the back of Darry on the exit at turn 4. They're side by side into 5. Who's later on the brakes? Darry really squeezing him on the outside of the track there. Brendan will try to hook it up around the outside, but he has to back out. Darry takes a tight line. He's going to go around the outside of turn 7. This will be a sensational move. He can make it stick. Really pushed him off. And I think Darry's round there. He's into the wall. And that's a retirement. Is that going to be a safety car or a VSC? And it is. It's a full safety car. Everyone, I would say, should come in for hards. Everyone apart from Brent and Tiag. But if I was anyone here, pit for hards, go to the end, get that pit stop done. Even the mediums. If anyone on medium stays out, you're absolutely mad. But yeah, Darry, I think he was squeezing Brendan a little bit too much, and he kind of got his comeuppance there. He squeezed him very tightly into 5, and again into 7. Didn't really leave the car's width, and then just got all out of shape on traction. But unfortunate for him, of course, but yeah, he didn't leave, I think, Brendan enough space in the corners preceding that.
Yeah, he didn't. As Carwin Robb stayed out. Okay, as Funky
penalty
Chicken.
For Chicken.
Yeah, speeding in the pit lane. Our net race leader then, a speeding penalty in the pit lane. Carwin Robb stays out. This has got to be a disaster because nobody behind him has stayed out. Every single driver has come in, including those that started on the hards. Interestingly, Brent and Teog are both into the pit lane. Carwin Robb is the only driver at all that stayed out in the grid, so he's going to be leading this race. But directly behind him is going to be Funky Chicken on a fresh set of hard compound tyres that can easily go to the end. What this has done, as Brent's gone to the mediums, what this has done has saved the race of those who started on the soft compound tyres. This is exactly what they needed to make their strategy work. This strategy has really played into their hands, and now, you've got to say, Carwin Robb, he's got to be seconds a lap faster than the drivers behind to make anything of this race.
Yeah, I think he's made a boo-boo here. Because the guys behind him are going to catch right up before he gets anywhere near the line. He's crashed! He's crashed! He's out under safety car. He's done a Montana. He's done a cookie. It's not the first time we've seen a leader bottle it under safety car. But I said Carwin Robb, if he makes another mistake, he's going to get that moniker of bottle. You can't do any worse than crash out from the lead under a safety car. And, well, Funky Chicken... Well, I'll tell you what we've got now. We've got a Formula Ford race. We've got a MotoGP race here. No pit stops. It's just pure racing all the way to the end.
Yeah, it's all about...
Yeah, that was bonkers.
My word. My word, what on earth has this Spanish Grand Prix been so far? Qualifying has been insane. This race has already been insane. Funky Chicken leads the race then after a safety car on lap 7. Every single driver has made their mandatory stop in this race. Trent and Tiag are the only drivers that aren't on the hard compound tyres. They will not get those mediums to the end. They've got to make another pit stop in this race. They'll be hoping for another safety car, which at this point, I would not be shocked if we do get another safety car. But either way, Funky Chicken leads. The problem for Funky Chicken, everybody behind him is on the same level of tyre, so they've all got... It's all basically a clean slate. And he's got a time penalty, so as it stands, the net leader of this race is Noah, with Non-Scott in a net second, Black Poma in a net third, and Forza Brendan up to a net fourth.
Who's going to be braver? And everyone knows this race is going to be won on track, and might this be the moment we see D3's darker, chaotic side come out of them, because if you're going to get anything from this, you've got to do it on track. You can't hope to undercut or overcut people, or hope for another safety car, because everyone is in exactly the same boat. I mean, you said Brent, Trench and Tiag might not, probably won't get to the end. But I know if you've got good tyre work, you can get the mediums a solid, 25 laps, and they pitted lap 7. So combined, that's 32. They only need to stretch another lap out under safety car. And they can get to the end if they've got good tyre wear. If they've got XL Dillon tyre wear, they will not. But we'll see. They can get them to the end, definitely. It's within the mediums to do that. But if they're going to be in a good position for the first few laps, at least first 4 or 5 laps, those mediums will have a real advantage. Safety car is in this lap. But yeah, everyone's going to have to get their elbows out. Everyone's going to have to do this on track. All of our title contenders, early looking ones, Brendan, Tin Can, Chill, who's gained massively through this, they're all going to have to get their elbows out, and I worry if we might see some front wings fly here.
Yeah, we've had, like you said at the start of the stream, we've had no stewards reports so far this season. I will be amazed if it remains like that throughout the rest of this race. But Funky Chicken will lead the way for this safety car restart then. He is in that lead position. Noah just behind him then as they come out of the turn 15. Harry Nawag has had a time penalty for a collision with the Haas driver of Tiog at the back of the field as they come round the final corner. And Funky Chicken goes now, coming out of the final corner. But Noah's wise to it. Noah tucked right up behind, using that ERS, getting a slipstream off the back of that Aston Martin. The Williams is fast in a straight line. He's going to try and go to the outside line for the lead of the race. Can he break all the way around the outside? Yes, he can. A brilliant move from Noah around the outside of turn 1. Funky Chicken tried to leave it as late as possible, but in doing so, everybody was wise to it. Noah capitalised. He now leads the race. As further back, Forza Brendan and Black Poma go at it. It was one McLaren earlier on. Forza Brendan goes for a move on another McLaren. He gets past Black Poma, loses the rear of the car in the process, but gets away with it. He's up to 4th as Chill's gone off the road at the back of the field. And now J. Cole gets past Black Poma in the process as well. So Forza Brendan and J. Cole now run 4th and 5th. Our championship leader has spun to the back of the field with front wing damage.
Oh, I said that safety car played into his hands last lap. I cursed that. Sorry, Chill. But that was a beautiful overtake from Noah into turn 1. But Funky Chicken completely botched the restart. By leaving it as late as possible, he made himself as predictable as possible. And here goes Tin Can at Black Poma. That's a 3rd position loss for the McLaren in the space of a sector. And there's Cobalt on Luke 5 as well, further back. Places traded all the time. But yeah, Chicken, he completely botched that restart. He should have gone early, made himself unpredictable to Noah, and he could have got a jump, but he left it late. He made himself predictable, and Noah just went straight through. The slipstream was too powerful for Chicken to defend all the way down that straight.
Yeah, into the pit lane comes Cobalt. I'm wondering whether he may have had something to do with that spin for Chill. That's front wing damage for Cobalt as well. So they're both into the pit lane. So we'll see whether they continue on. Hopefully they do continue on. Anything can still happen. But Noah, in the lead of this race, is flying. 1.1 seconds clear at the front of the field and still has more ERS to his name than Funky Chicken. On those hard compound tyres, Noah is looking very confident at this point. He's got those tyres right where he wants them after that safety car restart. Funky Chicken can't quite keep up, and if he loses DRS on the next lap to Noah, he'll be under massive pressure from Non-Scott and Forza Brendan behind. Forza Brendan's already been incredibly aggressive in his overtakes so far. They've all been clean, but he's been really trying to force his way through the field so far. Started 9th, is up to 4th. J. Cole has followed him through pretty much with every move that he's made, so J. Cole following nicely, so has Tin Can. What a shame for Black Poma though, that restart did not play well for him at all. We're now Raleigh, who lost out in the pit lane having to double stack behind his teammate, is all over the back of the McLaren now as well.
I don't think Black Poma is enjoying the hards at all. I know they take 2 or 3 laps to really come towards you to find some confidence on them. And I don't think he's quite got up to speed in the same rate as those behind him. And probably those overtakes that he suffered have unsettled him a little bit as well. Got in his head, perhaps, and he's just missing a few apexes and just having a scrappy lap. But he's had a good sector 3 and he's pulled a little gap to Raleigh. So long as he stays in Tin Can's DRS, I think he'll be just fine. But yeah, Funky Chicken out of DRS comfortably of Noah now. Noah flying along there. And Forza Brendan, he's having a really super race here, isn't he? As you say, started 9th, now 4th. He got through those older mediums that he'd used in qualifying, and I see no reason why he can't win this race. I mean, Funky Chicken is only one ahead of him. I'd say is probably quicker on raw pace. He's got a penalty. If he can get past Non-Scott, and I think this win is there for Brendan. It's there for the taking. I think anyone can still win this. Noah looks good now, but Brendan's in such a good position. I don't think we should count him out at all.
Definitely not. And championship-wise as well, we've got to think of the championship. He is currently third after that win last time out. He's only 8 points off the championship lead, and the championship leader at the moment will not be scoring anything.
Oh,
He's
and here
got
goes Raleigh.
all rally, yeah, but down the
Raleigh
inside.
up the inside of turn 10. That was a textbook overtake from the Williams, and Black Poma continuing to fall back, and he's still very much in Brent and Luke's clutches there, and Raleigh's already pulling away in the traction zones and the braking zones. Understeer there for Black Poma through turn 13. He just doesn't look happy on these hards at all. And Brent nearly round on the exit of turn 15 at the chicane. And here goes Luke round the outside of the last corner. They're going to be a drag race down the line. They've both got DRS, and Trench is trying to slipstream them both. Is Trench going to do a double overtake here? Another penalty for Chill at the top of your screen. But here they go. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. A little bump there from Brent. Trench has to back out, and they're side by side into 1. Luke just about hangs on, and there's Trench into the wall. Into the wall. His car does a complete barrel roll. Is that going to be another safety car? But that was...
Yes.
And it is another safety car. It is another safety car. Chill and Harry Cobalt back into play.
My, oh my, really, really aggressive racing from all 3 of them, but unfortunately Trench just losing it on his own. That is now both Alpines out of the race. Trench and Colin Robb do have the pace, but so far this season their races have gone horribly wrong, and that is them out of the run. We've only got 14 people left in this race then. We're down 3 from the start of this one, and we're only 13 laps into this race. Noah then, that lead that he had built up will be wiped out, and he'll now have to control the safety car restart. Funky Chicken second, Non-Scott third, Forza Brendan fourth. Just before that safety car had come out, the top 4 had broken DRS to J. Cole, so the top 4 were starting to break away from the rest of the field. That will be, this safety car will be of great news for J. Cole. He's back into play once again. Dari unfortunately has left the session. Of course, he was out of the race earlier on as well. We'll see if anyone decides to come in for a fresh set of mediums. You would imagine Cobalt, Harry and Chill probably won't. Chicken's in. Wow. Okay. Second place man in this race into the pit lane. No one's followed him in as of yet. Oh,
Raleigh as well.
Wow, okay. So
and Luke.
God, my word, a big split in strategy. Teog is in as well for probably another set of medium compound tyres. A real split in strategies then at the top of this field. Brent moves up into 7th place on those medium tyres, and Funky Chicken is going for a set of mediums. So is Luke. Teog's coming in. Raleigh's on for a set of medium tyres as well. Teog is for a fresh set of mediums himself as well, and he's getting rid of that 5-second penalty that he had with that collision with Harry Noirg. So Noah leads. Non-Scott now runs second. Brendan's up to third. Jacob's up to fourth. Tin Can's up to fifth. Black Homer's back up into sixth. But now, from 8th down, they're all on a fresh set of medium compound tyres. This is going to be really interesting. They should be able to get those to the end. It's whether they've got the pace to do so.
Tiag and Cobalt were side by side out of turn 2 under safety car. They completely bumped the wheels there through the middle of the chicane. Cobalt clearly came out on top. Tiag must have had a message to let him back through, but there was a proper battle on there out of the pit lane to see who could get to the safety car line first.
Blimey, a big old battle between those guys as well. One thing I have noticed in the pit lane, Funky Chicken has dropped behind Raleigh. So Funky Chicken got held up in the pit lane just a little bit by the others coming in. Raleigh's jumped all of them, so Raleigh is now the lead driver on a fresh set of medium compound tyres. We'll see what he can do. Raleigh, obviously, from last season, known for getting to the end of the race without having any drama or getting any penalties. He used to get incredibly good results out of races that didn't seem like they were going to produce anything for him, so you can never count Raleigh out. We'll see what he can do in that Williams. But a massive split in strategies now. We've got 6 drivers on the hards and everyone else on the mediums.
Tiag just went into a half spin. I wonder if he just touched the curb at turn 12. So Carwin Robb is now in company as someone who's spun under the safety car. But yeah, you mentioned for Chicken, it was Chicken that had the 5-second penalty. That is why Raleigh is now ahead of him.
Yeah.
So that's why they switched places. But this is well split, isn't it? We've got literally the top half of the field is on hards to the end. The rest of the field is on mediums to the end. So I couldn't pick a winner from this now. I was going to say Brendan, but no, I can't now. I can't pick a winner from this. I've got a feeling about Raleigh and Chicken. Chicken now free of his penalty, of course. Raleigh, he's just good at races like this. You alluded to it. I know he caused you a great deal of frustration last season because of that. This race just suits him to the ground. Funky Chicken, quick anyway, got his penalty out of the way. Cobalt has shown tremendous pace when he was on those mediums at the start after he spun round. So there's people at the back end of this field, Chill as well, of course, but he has got those penalties, who are quicker than the guys in the front half of the field. And I have no idea which way this is going to go.
It's going to be such a A great end to this race. I'm really excited for this one. The one thing though that Raleigh has got to do, if he wants to have a shot at a podium or winning this race, you've got to say the first thing that Raleigh has got to do is clear Brent, because while Brent might be able to get to the end of the race, Brent's not shown a lot of speed in this race so far, and those tyres are going to be wearing off so much by the end of the race. He does not want to get stuck behind that AlphaTauri any longer than he needs to.
Absolutely. I mean, he's looked shaky, Brent, through USA, through qualifying today. He's had twitchy moments with the car where he looks like he's not fully necessarily in control of it, but he just has a lot of loose apexes. Rear slides a bit for him sometimes. Just makes a few mistakes, and that could. Raleigh needs to get through that, because Brent's good, but he doesn't have necessarily the cleanest driving in terms of his driving style. But we're ready for the restart here, and is Noah going to go early? Is he going to do what Chicken did and go late? He's gone early. He's gone off the exit turn 5. Big slide for him though, the middle of turn 16. But I think he's got just enough to keep non-Scott at bay.
Yeah, just about gets away with it with a good initial restart despite that spin. Big gap though between Jayco and Tin Can. Tin Can caught napping at the restart. Black Poma trying to get the move done. Ooh, a really late defensive move from Tin Can in towards turn 1. Black Poma has to switch sides and then backs out of the move. I wonder if Black Poma will be a little bit annoyed with that one. That was a really late defensive move from the Ferrari. They just about got away with it, but that could have been an awful accident for the two of them. And now Black Poma under pressure from Brent behind, thinking about a way through into turn 4, but he is not quite close enough to make that move 6. So stays in 7th for the time being. Then after that restart, Noah still leads the way, no positional changes, but yeah, that was a really late defensive move from Tin Can.
It was sketchy. I wouldn't say it was completely illegal, but it was dodgy, I think is the word I'd use, and we'll see if Black Puma reports it. But you can just, I'm on board with Raleigh, you can see how much more confidence and grip he has, and the car just turns in through turn 9. So much more pace than Brent and Black Puma at the moment. He's got to make the most of these mediums while they're fresh, because the hards will keep getting quicker. I mean, so will the mediums to an extent, but he's got to make the most of the advantage while he has it. Same goes for the guys behind him, but he needs to clear, as you said, he needs to clear Brent quickly, and Black Puma as well. And we know how Black Puma doesn't seem the happiest in this race so far.
Yeah, he's really struggled on those hard compound tyres, and immediately Brent thinking about trying to break the toe, but he's now thinking about a move on Black Puma in front. He's not going to be close enough now without the DRS. No one's really got the car in a straight line to make the move stick in towards turn 1, so they stay in position for the time being, as do the rest of the medium runners. Chill thinking about a move on Harry Nawag in towards turn 1, maybe coming out towards turn 4. He's trying to cut to the inside line of Harry Nawag up towards the corner. Harry Nawag not putting up a defence, but the braking zone's just too short for Chill to think about a dive into the corner. Can he think about a move? Maybe into turn 5 is going to look, but Harry Nawag wise to it, and Chill around the outside drives into the side of the Mercedes. I don't know if he's picked up any damage that we can't see, but that was a pretty hefty whack into the side of the Mercedes. Chill just desperately trying to get a move done on Harry Nawag. Just drove clean into the side of the Mercedes. We'll see through turn 9, and quite a bit of understeer for the Aston Martin. I'm worried there that he might have picked up yet more damage.
That was a very late lunge from Chill. I'm not sure if he did pick up damage. I think he might have just avoided it. We just saw proper concertina through turn 10 there. Chicken, Luke, Cobalt, Tiag, all really bunched up through the apex turn 1. I think that was bumper cars through there. Bumper to bumper. But Black Puma is now, is he slipped out of the RS? He has slipped out of the RS, and now I think we're going to see him tumble to these medium runners. DRS enabled. He's got another pit straight to survive yet before DRS comes into effect, but I don't think Brent even needs it. He's got so much overspeed. And there we go, ERS in effect. Black Puma's not even bothering to defend with it. Noah gets a penalty,
Wow.
our race leader, and there goes Brent into turn 1. I think Raleigh and Funky Chicken and Luke and Cobalt, I think they're all going to follow very quickly through on the McLaren.
Yeah, Raleigh, is he going to think about a move to turn 4? He's on his ERS. Black Puma defends to the inside and then moves back to the race in 9. Raleigh, though, you can see just so much later on the brakes into turn 4. Is he going to think about the move into 5? He's going to duck to the inside line, but he's not late enough on the brakes to commit to the move. So Black Puma holds it for the time being, but what this is doing is dropping him further and further out of range to Brent in front. That could leave him vulnerable down maybe towards turn 9. Does he have DRS? He will have DRS on the back of Brent down towards turn 10. So that's a little bit safe down this straight, unless Raleigh can think about a late dive into the corner. Funky Chicken's actually closer to Raleigh than Raleigh is to Black Puma, but Funky Chicken doesn't go for the move for the time being. He sits in behind in that 9th position, but like you say, Black Puma just struggling so much on those hard compound tires. It should easily breeze past down the pit straight. Our race leader then, Noah, with a time penalty. Non-Scott sits in the net lead of this race. Forza Brendan tucked right up behind as well. And the top three have dropped J. Cole.
Yeah, J. Cole slipped out of the RS. I think we're in a straight race now between these top three. And there goes Non-Scott on Noah. Is he going to go for the... Well, he's in the net lead anyway, and Noah's really fighting him hard through turn 2, mounting that curb like crazy. Brendan's going to try follow him through onto turn 3. Noah tucks back underneath Non-Scott. He's got the inside line for 4, but it's not a long braking zone. You can't really dive bomb there. Non-Scott goes deep. Noah tugs the inside line. They're going to be side by side into 5. Who's braver on the brakes? We've seen a few instances towards here already. Noah tries to cut back underneath him. Nothing going. He's not going to find a move into 7, is he? Again, another very short braking zone here. He's looking left, he's looking right. Nothing going. Non-Scott holds on. But now Noah's going to have DRS towards turn 10. He flicks it into 9. Follows well through the dirty air. He's got the DRS open. Non-Scott is using all his airs to defend. Noah comes out, tries to spot his braking point. He's going to save everything, I think, for the main straight to try and regain that lead back.
Yeah, really fighting it hard. You've got to try and force the other driver into a mistake, especially when you have that time penalty. You need these drivers to drop out of range or get a penalty themselves. So he's really trying to fight hard. Oh, a big snap of oversteer coming out of turn 13 there for Noah, but he's still tucked right up behind that Alfa Romeo as he comes out of the final corner. Gets a really bad run though out of the chicane. Is he going to be close enough? He's not using his ERS. Now he uses his ERS a bit further down, but Brendan behind is using his as well. Noah, I don't think it's going to be close enough, but Non-Scott is derating in towards turn 1. Noah really late on the brakes, runs into the back of the Alfa Romeo. Might just get away with it, but he hits the curb, and that's him out of the race. That's him into the barriers. And Noah, from a great position in this race, is another driver to spin and retire, and that is another virtual safety car. Non-Scott leads the race, but Brendan now up into second position. My word, what on earth has this race been so far?
And then they were 13. Another one bites the dust, as Freddie Mercury told us. And we're down 13. Chill still somehow hanging on to the back of this race. He's had a bit of a crazy one, isn't he? But yeah, Non-Scott and Brendan is straight fight at the end, and I think with the third driver out of the equation, I think this puts Brendan in prime position back to win this race. DRS enabled, we're back under green flag. Brendan was caught napping on the restart. Usually he'll have DRS because he was in 1 second at the detection zone, but he fell out through that straight. Non-Scott got a better launch when they went to green flag conditions, and J. Cole back into DRS. He was 1.7 adrift. He's now just about a second. Tin Can hanging on as well. Don't count these two out yet. We've got a yellow flag at the back, and we've got all sorts of cars off. We've got Chicken round. And now we've got Tiag and Brent side by side into turn 14, and Tiag's round as well in the Haas. That's a 180, no damage for him, but he just completely ran out. And what's this at the last corner? We've got Cobalt, Luke, Raleigh, all out of shape. Brent's following them round. Someone's come into the pits. That's Black Poma. He's getting off those hards. And here comes Raleigh in the slipstream on Cobalt. I have no idea what just happened there. And Brent's nearly running into the back of Raleigh as well towards turn 1. They all just about hold position.
I haven't got a clue what happened there. Siaga's retired in the pit lane, sadly, so that's his race over and done with. We've got 12 people left in this race, so everyone, as it stands, will score a point if they finish this race. I don't know what happened. I think what might have happened is Funky Chicken at the restart tried to go for a move on Raleigh and ended up just driving into the back of him and spinning, and everyone just was all over the road in avoidance of the spinning Aston Martin. But from a pole position and a possible win, Funky Chicken now down in 11th place. Till does have damage, by the way. It's very light, we can't see it, but he's continuing on. Fair play to him at this point. He's running inside the top 10 with a damaged front wing. But my word, the race is now completely split. And the battling that was going on between the medium runners was so ferocious in that midpoint of the race, but it's just let the hard runners disappear at the front of the field.
Yeah, there are about 3 or 4 instances in there. He said Funky Chicken was one, Tiag spinning was another, and then everyone just sort of collected each other at the exit chicane of the last corner. I'm not sure if someone went over the curb or made a mistake. Fastest laps up front, Brendan very much has Non-Scott in his sights now. But yeah, there were 3 or 4 different incidents. Luke, in fact, is the one flying a 17, 4th him in P5. He's the big gainer in all of that melee. He's up into 5th. Tin Can is tucked right up against his XL teammate J. Cole as well. And yeah, so we're in, as you say, we've got a split. We've got the top 4, and then we've got Luke leading another gaggle of 5.
Yeah, my word, that is absolutely it's been such a crazy race so far. Just as soon as J. Cole's within DRS range, he's immediately back out of it again. Non-Scott and Forza Brendan, definitely the faster two hard runners at this point in the race. You've got to wonder, is Tin Can maybe being held up at this point behind J. Cole? Does he think he can get a run at the top three? But again, just on board with the Ferrari, a lot of understeer there as Cobalt picks up a time penalty through turn 8. Luke and Cobalt and Raleigh all starting to join together to try and close in on some of these hard runners, but they don't have.
Oh, and Non-Scott's out. Non-Scott's
Oh!
out. He's round into turn 12. There was a weird place to drop it. He dropped it way after the apex of turn 11. It's like he clipped the curb and just slid all the way through the corner and couldn't stop sliding and just collected the wall for good measure. And that's him out. And Brendan, somehow, without making an overtake, has found himself in the lead of this race after he was fourth.
I don't know what's
Chill
happened.
gains another place in that as well.
Black Puma's just had a spin now as well, coming out of turn 8. I don't think he's hit anything. He's not got any visible damage, but that's a spin for Black Puma. He drops behind Chill again on those soft compound tyres. Funky Chicken's back up to 9th. Brent's pitted for a third time in this race. He's into the pit lane, and that's for a set of soft compound tyres to go to the end. It'll be a battle between him and Chill for the fastest lap as Chill picks up yet another time penalty. So he's going to possibly lose out to Black Puma a little bit later on with the penalties that he is picking up. All of a sudden, Brendan leads this race from J. Cole and Tin Can. These drivers, remind you, qualified 9th, 10th and 11th, and they're now running 1, 2, 3. These three drivers have avoided all of the carnage. None of them, like you say, have made an on-track overtake in this race. They've just passed everyone if they've been falling by the wayside. Anytime someone has got into the lead of this race, it's gone run, and Funky Chicken! Funky Chicken's now spun coming out of turn 5. That is a full safety car. That is a saviour for Brent, Chill and Black Puma. Oh, we've only got 10 people left. This race has been absolute carnage.
Do you go for softs though? That is the thing. Brent's already on softs. He doesn't have to think about that, and but he's not going to gain any place anyway because he's so far behind. But do you go softs? Do you go softs? If you're Brendan, if you're J. Cole, if you're Tin Can, Brendan's in, J. Cole's in, Tin Can's in. You've got to go softs, haven't you? If you stay on the hards, you're going to get marked off. So everyone coming in. Luke has to stay out because his teammate's in the pits. Cobalt stays out as well. He has a penalty though. Raleigh comes in. Harry comes in. Brent and Chill have no reason to come in. Black Puma may as well come in. He's so far behind. But, yeah, another one gone. And another one gone, to further quote Freddie Mercury. What a bonkers affair this is. Luke leads the race. Where did he start? Let's have a check. He's up 11. Cobalt up 13. Brendan up 6. J. Cole up 6. Tin Can up 6, as you said. 9th, 10th, 11th for those guys. Raleigh down 3, but still in a good position. I think he is, he's got very good pace. Harry up 10. Brent up 5. Chill up 5. So, yeah, everyone who started in the top 10, basically, feels like that way anyway, is retired from this race. Raleigh and Black Puma, I think, are just about our only survivors from the top 10. Brendan is the other one.
My word. I haven't got a clue how to describe this race. This race has been so all over the place. So many different points. It's looked like we've had different winners. Luke all of a sudden leads this race. Just to remind everybody, Cobalt spun at the very first corner of the first lap and was last for the majority of this race. He now runs second, but on 12-lap-old medium compound tyres, by far the oldest tyres in the field, with a whole heap of soft runners right behind him, ready to pounce if they need to. I don't know how this one's going to play out. We've already seen so far that if you're not within half a second down the pit straight, it's fairly difficult to overtake. But you can still have a massive tyre advantage and still find it hard to overtake so far and make that move stick. Luke leads on 9-lap-old medium compound tyres. If Cobalt could hold Brendan up for long enough before those softs start to go off, Luke could still come out of this race with a race victory.
I'll throw in some extra spice onto the curry. We've got Brendan on 2 warnings, J. Cole on 2 warnings, Tin Can on 2 warnings, Raleigh on 2 warnings. If any of them slips up, they're going to lose 3 or 4 places here, and Cobalt will be, crossing his fingers and his toes that one of them does, because, at the moment, I don't think he's going to stay on the podium because he's on those old mediums. Everyone behind him on fresh softs, so he could slip down drastically. He could yet not finish in the top 5 here, Cobalt, or even the top 6, 7 or 8, because if those tyres fall away from him, or if the softs have the advantage that one would expect. But yeah, those guys who hypothetically are the ones in prime position to win, Brendan, J. Cole, Tin Can, Raleigh, all on 2 warnings apiece.
Yeah, it's going to be a real. It's going to be tough to balance the pushing for the end of the race with trying to keep it on the road. How much do you push? How much risk do you take to try and gain those places? If you're Forza Brendan, you don't want to ruin it for yourself, because as it stands, Forza Brendan would move into the lead of the championship after this round if it were to finish like this. Tin Can would also move ahead of Chill, and Chill would drop to third in the championship standings as it is. With the amount of penalties that Chill has in this race as well, I think it doesn't matter where Chill finishes on the road. As it stands, he'll probably still end up 10th unless we have even more carnage towards the end of this. It just goes to show that staying on the road and staying in the race is just as important as being fast as it stands, because we've only got 10 people left and the safety car is in this lap. We're going to have, I think, 8 laps of racing towards the end of this one, 5 laps with DRS enabled. It's going to be a great end to this race. You're going to want to watch the rest of this one. Luke leads from Cobalt. These two, the only 2 drivers that stayed out at that final safety car restart. Forza Brendan was the net leader. He's been in for a set of soft compound tyres, as has everybody behind him, apart from Black Poma, who's gone for another set of medium compound tyres. Where does Luke go for the safety car restart? Noah went just after the chicane. Luke has not really left a lot of a gap between himself and the safety car, but he's going to go, I think, just after the chicane. Yes, he is. He goes just now, but Cobalt is ready to attack. Coming down the pit straight then is very, very close, and the 2 medium runners very close to one another coming down the straight. Does Cobalt have the straight line speed to go for the move on Luke? Luke all the way to the right-hand side to defend. Cobalt's going to try and brake late and go round the outside, but he's not late enough on the brakes, and he can't make the move stick. He's thinking about it up towards turn 3, though. He's almost pushing through the corners. Black Poma gets a time penalty. Cobalt nearly pushing Luke through turn 3, but can't find a way through. Brendan not able to make a move himself either on the medium runners in front, but can he get the run out of 5 and in towards turn 6, into turn 5, sorry, not quite. It's not close enough to back of the Alfa Romeo so far. Just sticking in behind, maybe waiting for the right opening. Doesn't want to push a mistake and make a mistake himself. He doesn't want to cost that as he's really high over the curb at turn 7. Look how much more grip he's got on those softs, but in the middle part of the lap it's pretty much impossible to overtake. He's really slow through 9 as well. That doesn't quite leave him vulnerable to J. Cole behind. He's safe in third for the time being, but the 2 medium runners just holding on.
I'm surprised how well they're holding on to Berners. I thought Brendan would be past one of them by now, because those softs, first lap on them, racing lap on them, they're going to be so fresh and sticky. But they're doing a good job. I mean, Brendan's not even getting really within 2 or 3 tenths of them at the moment. I mean, Cobalt got a good drive off the last corner there, and he's got Luke slipstream to keep Brendan at bay. Brendan's going to have to use all of his airs, really, if he wants to make any kind of impression there. J. Cole behind is just keeping a watching brief. Same for Tin Can. Raleigh having a bit of a sniff at him. But yeah, I'm very surprised that we held position all the way through that first restart lap.
Yeah, very well played as well for the restart. And I see no real dive bombs, no real bad driving standards from anybody at that safety car restart, as Cobalt a little bit wide at turn 4. Does that give Brendan the opportunity into turn 5? He's already tried to move into turn 5 today, but he's not quite close enough on the brakes. But look at that, pushing the Alfa Romeo through the corner. He's got a lot of mid-corner speed, but he's just not fast enough where he needs the pace. Cobalt has been one of the fastest drivers on track all day, so if there was anyone that Forza Brendan would have problems overtaking, it would be Cobalt, no matter the tyre difference. And look at J. Cole on his soft compound tyres, thinking about a move into turn 10 on Forza Brendan, but again, not close enough to think about a dive to the inside line to take away the position. DRS will be enabled on this next lap, and then towards the end of the race, if we don't get any more safety cars in this one. And Cobalt doing well enough at this point to hold on to the back of Luke. You've got to say, though, if Cobalt goes for the move on Luke, that leaves both of them vulnerable to the train of soft runners behind.
I was about to say exactly the same. Cobalt may have to think smart here and decide to settle for second to risk risk falling further back, because you can see how much Brendan is closing on down straight. But so long as Cobalt keeps his DRS, keeps his slipstream on Luke, that just does just enough to not overtake Luke, and they just hold formation. There's a real chance there, but look at the launch. Brendan's out on turn 3, and he touches the back of the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to launch it to 4? Said there's a short braking zone, not really overtaking place, but he's welcome to try it. Brendan gets a little bit out of shape, and J. Cole nearly gets very out of shape there. I think he got a wheel on the dirt. But this would be agonising for Brendan, because how much risk do you take? Do you go for it? Do you hold back? Cobalt a little bit out of shape through 7. I think everyone's just a little bit fatigued now. A few missed apexes. Everyone's just making a couple of mistakes. Mid-corner twitch there for Brendan, and he's lost speed to J. Cole. J. Cole has slipstream, but Brendan's DRS keeps him covered. J. Cole nearly runs into the back of Brendan, goes deep. But yeah, this is a very scruffy last few laps in terms of the driving standards here. But Brendan just needs a break. He needs Cobalt to give him something.
Yeah, Cobalt not making a mistake so far. He's doing a brilliant job in that Alfa Romeo of clinging onto the back of Luke. Luke as well in the lead of this race. Not under any real pressure. This is going to be the first time he's going to be under massive pressure with the DRS down the pit straight. But look how close Brendan is coming out of the last corner. But Brendan's used up so much of his DRS trying to get past when he didn't have DRS that he's kind of wasted it. Chills into the pit again. I wonder if he's got another bit of damage on that front wing. Again, Brendan just can't find the straight line speed to get past. And through turn 2, a bit of a wobble from Cobalt on the curb. Brendan had to back out of the corner. Does that leave vulnerable to J. Cole behind? Cobalt defends to the inside line for 4. He's wise to it this time around. Brendan can't get to the apex of the corner before the Alfa Romeo. Again, he can take a tighter line through 4. It's going to put him on the outside for 5. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. They just about get away with it though. Cobalt, big wobble coming out of the corner. Brendan again on his ERS, trying to think of a different way through at turn 7. That's not... No, that was far too risky. Down the inside, J. Cole picks up a time penalty. That was a day late. That was far too late from Brendan down the inside of turn 7, getting impatient and went for the move where you can't really overtake.
Yeah, that was not an overtaking zone. You drop down 1 gear there, or I do at times from 6th to 5th or 7th to 5th. It's not an overtaking zone. Brendan just got desperate there, but he had everyone he needed behind him. He could have just taken the podium. Cobalt had a penalty anyway. He was on for 2nd place. You want the win, but you know, 2nd ain't bad, or at least over a season, and that was very costly for Brendan. I'm not sure what went through his head there, because it wasn't worth the overtake. And there's Chill finally retiring. He should have hung on for the points there. Well, at this rate, he might have held on to his championship lead. J. Cole is 3rd, but Luke has no penalties, and Tinkan really isn't. Tinkan's got no pace compared to those ahead of him, even the medium guys. Is J. Cole going to go to turn 4 here? He is. He's sending it into 4. Is he going to hold this out? It's going to be side by side into 5. Cobalt goes very wide. He's got the inside line for turn 5. They're going to be... J. Cole's going to hang out around the outside onto the green Astro, I think, and J. Cole nearly losing it under traction. Cobalt hangs on. J. Cole isn't going to make Brendan's mistake and try and send it through there. Luke is absolutely loving this, you have to say. It could be Ferrari's 2nd win of the season incoming. J. Cole again twitching through turn 9. Penalty for Brendan. I think that caps off a disappointing end to the race for him. But 3 laps to go. Who's your money on?
At this point, it's got to be on Luke. Luke's doing a really solid job in that Ferrari in the lead of this race. Is keeping Cobalt in DRS, and actually keeping Cobalt in DRS is saving Luke at this point in the race, you've got to say. And the fact that both drivers behind him have penalties now means that he's not really under threat. As it stands, not only is Forza Brendan has spun now coming out of turn 12 just to cap off what has been a horrendous end to this race for Forza Brendan. That's going to be a front wing change and probably a chance at fastest lap, but nothing more than that. What could have been the lead of the championship for Forza Brendan is going to come away with a really, really poor result from this one tonight. Sadly, 9th is the best he can hope for in this one. Can J. Cole go for the move on Cobalt? Cobalt is derating coming out of turn 3. J. Cole's on his ERS coming out of the corner. He's going to go for turn 4 once again down the inside. And there's contact. No. Cobalt turns in. Cobalt's in the grass on the outside. I don't know if Tinkan ran into the back of the Mercedes there. Now Harry Nawag is off the road. I don't know if J. Cole picked up any damage in all of that. Tinkan's now down the inside of 3rd. He's not going to wait for the penalties to come into play. He's down the inside, but he backs out of the move into turn 7 and holds on to the 4th place. Well, that leaves him vulnerable to Raleigh JT behind. All of this has left Luke out in the lead of this race. As it stands, not only are we on for our 2nd Ferrari win, we're on for our 2nd Ferrari 1-2 as Cobalt lets J. Cole through down towards turn 10. J. Cole's up into 2nd position. Cobalt jolts to 3rd. That time around, too aggressive in defence from Cobalt, just basically turned in on the Mercedes.
And we've got Brent and Harry going side by side into turn 14. Brent's trying to force move there. You don't want to go side by side into the chicane. It is not wide enough, lads. But Brent barges his way through, elbows out. Black Poma taps the back of Harry. Might have given him a little bit of front wing damage. But that was crazy stuff. I'm not sure. Oh, you said about did Tinkan hit J. Cole? He completely got on the brake stick. Him and Raleigh got fully out of it. So there was... I don't think there's any damage on the Ferrari. But shall see. I'm surprised that Tinkan hasn't used the opportunity to get past. He had the chance on J. Cole. He had more of a chance on J. Cole in 7th than Brendan ever did on Cobalt. But he decided to, with the guys headed around penalties, he set them for 2nd place. And I think sensibly so. As you said, we're on for a Ferrari 1-2, and I think it's going to be Luke leading the championship at the end of this race. Oh, sorry, but no, it'll be Tinkan, won't it? Tinkan will be leading the championship. Scored up 3 races. So, yeah, Tinkan very sensible there in just keeping all of his eggs in his basket and go for second place.
Is that what we mentioned earlier on? You've got to weigh up the risk versus reward, and so far, Tinkan has been probably one of the only drivers that's been able to weigh up that risk and do it perfectly so far, him and his teammate Luke, and they're on for their second Ferrari 1-2 of the season after Bahrain. It was the reverse order. It was Luke in second to Tinkan winning. This time around, it looks like Luke could be winning, I think possibly for the first time in LOE, if he's able to hold on to this for Luke. He's got 1 lap to go. He's got no DRS threat from the drivers behind, and Jaco and Cobalt both have time penalties. As it stands, Tinkan would be second. Raleigh would end up on the podium as Jaco sets the fastest lap of the race, but look for maybe Brendan to try and steal that point off of him. Is Tinkan going to think to go for the move? It wouldn't be smart to go for the move on the final lap now. He's been sat behind these two pretty much this whole entire time. He doesn't need to go for the move as Black Poma and Harry Nawag battle into turn 1. Black Poma's out on top. The cloud covers all of a sudden come over. I think if you had one more safety car, it looks like it might have rained at the end of this race just to cap off what has been an utterly bizarre Spanish Grand Prix from start to finish. From the start of qualifying going completely wrong to this race being carnage left, right and centre. We've only got 9 finishers as it stands to this race. Luke out in front. The gap is coming down between him and Jaco, but Jaco is not a threat. There's the fastest lap from Forza Brendan, a 16.2. No one's going to come close to that. That is at least 1 point salvaged, and he will move closer to chill in the standings with that one. But Tinkan will take the lead of the championship as it stands. 1 sector to go. And what a drive this has been from Luke and Tinkan as well. Both Ferraris a great drive, and Luke has coped with the pressure amazingly well.
He's won this race simply by driving on the track. I think he's done a perfect race. He's just not put a foot wrong, and here he comes now round the last corner. What a superb drive from Luke 05. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix. It's J. Cole second on track. He'll slip back on penalties. It's Tinkan, then Raleigh, then Brent, a sensational 4th place for him. J. Cole is 5th, 6th, Harry Nawag is 7th. It's going to be Black Poma 8th, and Brendan coming into sector 3 now. It's going to be the last of our finishes in P9. But I think the fact that the top 8 were covered by 7.7 seconds there at the end just sums up how hectic that was. I used the word bonkers a few times today. It was a bonkers race from start to finish.
Yeah, by far the most bonkers race we've had so far. I thought USA was a bonkers race. My word, I can't imagine what the rest of these races are going to be like. Brendan rounds the final corner, then up towards the line. What will be a disappointing 9th place finish for him. He sets the fastest lap of the race again on the final lap of the race just to rub it in, but that is fastest lap point. At least something salvaged from this race when so many other drivers retired from great positions. Driver of the day in the game, no surprise for Luke 05 with the amount of places he gained in that race. I think it was 13 places in total that Luke gained in that race, about 12 or 13. It's a double podium for Ferrari, another 1-2 for Ferrari this season. This time around, it's Luke 05 on top. That's running through the full order then from 12th on the grid. Luke wins with Tinkan in second. Raleigh in third. Raleigh the only person inside the top 10, really, that finished that race where they started. He ends up in 3rd position. Brent 4th ahead of J. Cole. Cobalt Harry Nawag in 7th. Black Poma in 8th ahead of Forza Brendan, our only other finisher. Chill, Funky Chicken, Non-Scott, Tiog, Noah, Trench, Carwin Robb and Darry all retired in that race. All of them through crashes, apart from the house driver Tiog, who retired in the pit lane. A carnage race from start to finish. In the end, only, I think, 4 of the drivers that started in the top 10 finished in the top 10, let alone finished the race in general. That was carnage from start to finish.
Carnage is the word. I can't think of any other word to describe it. I'd have to go through the race to give you a so from the very first lap we had 2 or 3 drivers spin around. Cobalt was one of them. He was superb all race, wasn't he? He went from 15th on the grid to the back to 5th to 6th by a run in 2nd or 3rd. It was and Luke he didn't drop any places at any point. He just kept creeping forward all the way through. It was just superb from those guys at the front. Avoided penalties as well. I think ultimately he was the one. We had a few at the front that had driven clean races, but he was the one man left standing at the end, I think, along with Tinkan, who didn't really put a foot wrong in terms of penalties or collisions or any such like.
Yeah, kept it clean all the way through the race, and it paid dividends in the end. Just like we mentioned, it goes to show that to finish first, you've got to finish. You've got to be able to complete a full race distance to be able to score the big points at the end of it. We have got our 3 podium sitters in the party with us as well, so we can get some quick interviews in at the end of that that race of attrition that we just had. Luke 05 is our race winner. Luke, your second podium out of 2 starts. Of course, you missed the USA, sadly, but 2 podiums in 2 races for you, and your first win in League of Europe in Formula 1. That was an absolutely brilliant drive from yourself, just avoided carnage all the way through. How was that for you? Yeah, talk us through kind of your thought processes through the many safety cars that we had. I'm sure it would have been tempting to pit under loads of those. Why particularly did you not pit under that final safety car? Yeah, definitely. Was there kind of a fear? Obviously, you saw that you and Cobalt in the end were the only ones that stayed out for that final safety car. Your thought process for that final safety car restart, was it a case of trying to salvage as much as you could, or did you think that you could still win that?
Sorry, Luke, your voice isn't shared. You need to share your voice with the broadcast, or so that the stream can hear you.
Hopefully just wait and see if you're able to do that. I think while we'll get a final word from you in a minute. While you're doing that, we'll move over to our second place finisher and our new championship leader. He led the championship after the first round, briefly lost it in USA, and is back in the lead of the championship after that one. Tin Can, how was that race from yourself?
Honestly, I thought it'd go a lot better in general, like qualifying and everything, but P2's a very good result considering where I started, so happy nonetheless.
Yeah, of course, obviously you were one of those drivers that tried to qualify inside the top 10 on the medium compound tyres. You said yourself that you didn't quite get where you wanted to be. Did you expect the field to be maybe a little bit faster than that in qualifying? In the end, the qualifying pace overall wasn't quite that fast.
To be honest, I expected myself to be fast. I weren't happy with my medium lap, but yeah, I did think, after what I heard in the chat beforehand, that there'd be a lot more 14s than there was.
Yeah, definitely. I think also talk us through kind of your process through those safety cars as well. Of course, you were running with Forza Brendan and J. Cole for pretty much the entirety of that race, following each other's moves, and in the end, you're the one that came out on top. How was your kind of thought process throughout that race? Was it just kind of sit and wait for things to happen, or were you trying to get a bit further forward?
Yeah, I was always in a train, so the safety cars didn't change much, really. I was always just going to follow what everyone else did, because I've learned before, doing the opposite doesn't always work. So.
Yeah, go for the safe option and see what you can get from it. Jake, have you got anything that you want to add?
I'd say at the end we noticed that behind Cobalt and Luke and J. Cole, you were just hanging back a little bit from those medium runners. Were you just struggling for pace a little bit, or were you playing it safe, knowing that you didn't have a penalty and you were just you were playing the long game, knowing that you'd get those places at the end?
I knew that I would get the places in the end if I'd kept it clean, so I was partly doing that, just keeping it like not touching the curbs or anything. And I saw like it's quite big battles in front, so I thought if anything happens, I want to be a little bit further back just in case there's a crash, which I mean there was. So
I mean, you're a man after my own heart there, playing it safe. It came out well for you in the end, though. P2 and as we said, championship leader as well. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, congrats. Obviously, thinking about that championship lead, then going into round 4 at Silverstone. How are you feeling about Silverstone? I'm sure it's going to be a lot closer at Silverstone throughout the field. It's a track that produces really close racing. How are you feeling about that circuit?
I haven't done much practice on it, to be honest. I mean, I know I need to be up there because I'm missing a race in a few weeks' time, so I've got to try and get as much points as I can now. So yeah, just going to go all out for the win again and see what I can do.
Brilliant stuff. That's the perfect attitude. Thank you so much, Tin Can, for joining us once again. Congrats on your second podium of the season and the championship lead. We'll move over to our third place finisher, Raleigh JT. Raleigh, you're back on the podium like you did so many times last season. Ended up kind of slowly but surely working your way through the carnage in the end. It was a chaotic race. You had a few skirmishes yourself as well, but managed to get out of them. How was that race from your perspective?
Oh, yeah, it was quite a intense race to do. Yeah, as you said, I managed to get out of the carnage at some point. Yeah, so just happy to be on the podium.
Yeah, really good drive from yourself again onto the podium, and that is kind of a kick-start to your season. Up to now, it's not obviously been the start to the season that you would have wanted. A bit more of a kick-start to your season now then. Do you think that you can take this momentum forward and continue on this trend?
Yeah, I hope so. I really felt that I had the pace for more today, especially before the first safety car, where we actually got away from the others. But yeah, it's certainly a good kickstart for my season.
Yeah, good stuff. Have you got anything, Jake, that you would like to ask the rally?
I say you've mentioned that you could have hoped for a little bit more. Do you think at the end of that race you could have been a bit more aggressive and maybe overtaken Tin Can, or was your thoughts always just, like I said to Tin Can, holding back and jumping those guys on penalties?
I think it was yeah, it would be hard to get past Tinkan in the end. Yeah, I think I managed to get get what out of the way that I could. So yeah, just happy for the podium.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much.
Really good race.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us in the party as well. We'll just transfer back over to Luke. Hopefully Luke has got those party things sorted. Just the final thing for me, for you, Luke. First win of the season. How are you feeling moving into Silverstone?
I'm feeling more confident now. Silverstone's not a bad track for me, so
brilliant
hopefully
stuff.
I can carry this momentum further on.
Yeah, that would be absolutely brilliant. Jake, have you got anything you want to add before we finish off?
Well, today was, last week I thought was crazy, as you said. Today was crazier, and as I always end, I do more of the same. I don't think we had too many collisions today. There might be one or two reports, but I don't think it was a dirty race on the whole. I think generally it was kept clean. We just saw a lot of mistakes, and it led to some fantastic action on track, some great wheel-to-wheel racing, particularly in those last 5-10 laps. And yeah, as always from me, just more of the same. And as always, a pleasure commentating alongside yourself. Looking forward to next week. Although I might not be in the commentary box next week to say it's my birthday weekend, but I will definitely be back for round 5 if I'm not around next week.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, as always, a pleasure to commentate alongside yourself as well. Now we get to race alongside each other in hopefully an equally chaotic race. That'll be great to see. Of course, tune in about 10 minutes time for the D2 and the D5 streams on the League of Europe channel. And we're only a couple of subscribers away from 700 subscribers, so get those subscriptions in now. We can hit that little milestone there, getting ever closer to 1,000. Let's see if we can get that maybe by the end of the season. That would be amazing if we could do that. Thank you to all the drivers as well for joining us in the party as well, so we could have a quick chat with them. I'm sure they need a bit of a rest after that one, and we do too. But we will see you this time next week for round 4 at Silverstone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.